Change your heart, change your life, change the planet.
Hey everybody, Tim Van Orden, coming to you from the Appalachian Trail in Woodford, Vermont. It's a cold, misty morning, and I'm having lots of thoughts about purpose, meaning, chaos, and relationships. And since I'm in that space, I thought that I'm going to keep sharing about this until it plays itself out. So what's coming up for me today is that we live in a really complex world. We live in a really confusing world. And on one level, we've never been more safe physically, especially if you live in the so-called Western world. You've never been more physically safe on average. And yet at the same time, as technology advances and as social networks begin to dominate the world and the conversations that we have, and as possibility continues to expand in that space, you are less and less and less safe as an individual, as an identity. And what I mean by that is that it's harder and harder for us to feel like we have a purpose. It's harder and harder for us to feel like what we're doing is significant and has meaning. And this drives us into relationship, because that is one of the few things that we still have as humans that makes sense to us. And even that space is becoming incredibly complicated and blurry in a really frightening way. So if we look at how different types of personalities enter into relationship, you'll find that some people have a sense of certainty about them. They have a sense of clarity about who they are, and nothing that happens to them, nothing you say to them is going to change or affect that. They know who they are, and that's it. And they're kind of like an electron or a photon. For a long time, physics or physicists couldn't decide or figure out if an electron was a particle or a wave, or if a photon was a particle or a wave. And what they've eventually concluded is it depends on how you experience it. It can be both. And sometimes it's both at the same time, maybe always. And so when it comes to personality, when it comes to the conscious experience, some people are electrons or photons that are experienced as particles. They experience themselves as solid objects. And other people experience themselves as this fuzzy wave of probability. And you can't really pinpoint where the density of that electron is. All you can really know is that it exists. I'm here, I'm conscious, I'm in the world, but I don't have a sense of pinpoint accuracy as to where, what, or who I am, or where I fit into anything. It's always been this fuzzy, probabilistic experience of, I don't know, I'll just go along with this or with that, and I'll try this, I'll hang out with these people, but I never really feel like I fit in. I never really feel like it's me, and I see other people being themselves with such clarity that precise particulate experience, a solid experience, and I've always been envious. And then I see other people like me who are just, they're here, and they don't know who they are here, and it's no fault of their own. It's simply the way their brain is built, the way my brain is built. It's a brain built on uncertainty rather than certainty. It's a brain built as a wave that can experience a great multitude of things rather than a brain built as a particulate, matter-based, solid function that experiences the world almost always in the same way, regardless of how the world is presenting itself. And it's great to have many different types of brains in a culture. I think the most important aspect of diversity is diversity of personality, diversity of process, diversity of thought. Because each different type of brain is going to process the world in a different way and get very different results, and therefore be capable of very different engagement and outcome. So if you're like me, living in a world that really values that sense of certainty, that sense of solidity, you're really going to struggle as you try to find out who you are, because we're surrounded by a media engine and a culture that celebrates people that know exactly who they are and who take decisive action, who are cool, who don't process a lot of things, who see black or white. They don't see gray, and they definitely don't see color. They see a very decisive point of action, and you can't talk them out of it. So what I am noticing today is that being this fuzzy, hazy, gaseous type of person, when I meet someone that I'm drawn to, that I'm physically completely captured by, and intellectually and emotionally stimulated by, I collapse into a solid function. My waveform collapses. I find certainty. I find that sense of self. And it's not that they complete me. It's that they allow me to experience myself in a different way. They help to reduce the chaos. They give me something that matters, something that feels solid, something that feels significant, something that I feel like I can stand on. If you've experienced this, you know what I'm talking about. That connection, everything suddenly makes sense. The uncertainty is gone. The world suddenly has meaning and value, and it's just right here. It's just you and me, us in this moment. I know exactly what's going on in the world in this moment. I have no uncertainty in this moment, because no matter where we go, we end up dead. No matter what we accomplish, what we accumulate, it ends up being taken away from us and eventually forgotten. But in the individual moments of connection and of collapse, time stops, and we just are left with position. And in that moment, we know who we are, and we know our value, we know our meaning. It's here, it's now, it's this, and we finally get to experience the fullness of being. I'll just stop there, the fullness of being. The FOB. That's what I'm looking for in a relationship. It's FOB, not FWB. So it's, again, not so much that the person adds something to you. It's that that person allows you to experience yourself in a way that you can't alone. So those are some thoughts floating around today, and I hope there's some value in it. I hope it gets you to think. Maybe you relate to some of that, and if you do, leave a comment. Let's have a conversation about this, and it's okay. It's okay to feel this and to discuss this and to process this. It may not feel that way at times, but it's okay. Sometimes it's the only way to get through it. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you think this content has value, and come on over to Patreon, and for $1 or $2 a month you help me investigate this further and more consistently, and I'm really grateful for your support there. So thank you, and I'm going down the mountain now. See ya.